What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of MMA Today. This is episode 46. I hope everybody's having a great day or weekend or whenever you guys are listening to this podcast, guys. But we are back with another episode, guys. UFC 265 just happened last Saturday in Houston, Texas. Derrick Lewis and Ciryl Gane. Interesting fight, main event. Really did not expect that outcome like that fashion, but we'll explain that a little bit more. No fights this Saturday, no UFC, so that's a little bummer, but we do have a great PFL playoff card. This is going to be the first playoff card, so it's going to be interesting to see as well. Bellator 264 as well as on Friday. So we have some interesting fights on Friday, so nothing to put your head down, at least we got some MMA fights as well as we have a lot of MMA announcements. But before we jump into this Lewis versus Gane breakdown, please, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm finally uploading videos there. I'm uploading the podcast, guys. It's MMA Today. It has the same logo and everything. You might have to dig and dive because there's a lot of channels called like that have been just died out for a long time. So you're going to have to probably scroll down to find me. But it would mean the world to me if you guys would help out the channel and subscribe. As well as, guys, if you guys will follow me on my Instagram, MMA Today Official. I'm uploading just new updates on the MMA world, and that's where I'm getting all my information off now is on my Instagram, guys. So it would mean the world to me if you guys would just, give a quick follow. It would mean the world, guys. But let's just jump into this Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane fight. Last week I told you guys that I really thought Derrick Lewis was going to win this fight. I thought he was going to win comfortably. It's in his hometown. I really thought, he was going to put on pressure, take Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane has always, walked forward. He's never walked backwards. He's never gone backwards. So I thought maybe this is a perfect opportunity for Derrick Lewis to capitalize and, pressure him and to fight on his back foot, because I really don't see Ciryl Gane fighting in his back foot. So I thought that was maybe a great advantage for Derrick Lewis. And, I thought the power was with Derrick Lewis, but I completely underestimated Ciryl Gane. That man came out with a perfect plan. And how a lot of people say, Ciryl Gane does not get hit, dude. And it's just insane how Ciryl Gane's footwork is probably the greatest footwork in the heavyweight division. He won this fight pretty easily, pretty flawless. I feel like Derrick Lewis was a little bit nervous, I believe, fighting in his hometown in Houston, Texas. I feel like the pressure was there. And it got to him. I think it did get to him. It started him really slow. He didn't throw any uppercuts. No, he didn't throw anything. I think he threw like 3 punches the total first round, if I believe. So we knew Derrick Lewis was not throwing a lot. I think he was a little bit gun shy. And he's had that issue a couple of fights. He always says that he always gets takes him a while to start swinging and banging. And so I feel like the lights really got him a little bit nervous, as well as I felt like he wasn't showing enough pressure. He was backing up the entire fight. He was not giving pressure to Ciryl Gane. He would try to do like little berserk moments where he would just try to go bull heavy, try to go up and forward, and it just didn't happen. Ciryl Gane practically got out there. He got his track running shoes and started running out of there. And props to him. He doesn't get hit. Ciryl Gane has found his way. He picked him apart for the first 2 rounds. And then in the 3rd round, he decided to let it fly. Ciryl Gane said, you know what? Derrick Lewis is afraid. He's gun shy. And just beat the living shit out of Derrick Lewis. No one has ever beaten Derrick Lewis that bad. Besides Ciryl Gane, he went up there and just did some crazy performance. He did like that back elbow hit. That was pretty insane. And Ciryl Gane, is going to get Francis Ngannou for his run for his money, dude. We saw that they did some training. We don't know how fresh Francis was or how fresh Gane was, but so I really don't count, the footage of them training, and sparring. So I'm not going to count that really in depth, really too much. But the Ciryl Gane fight versus Francis Ngannou, that's the fight to make. They're both from France. That fight has to be made in France. There's so much popularity would happen. So many fans would go. France is on fire right now. You have Ciryl Gane, who is your interim heavyweight champion right now. We had Francis Ngannou that is, he still puts himself as a French fighter. He puts himself as I think it's Cameroon, and then after that he puts himself as well as France. So there's that French star power right there. France is just going up. They got Lionel Messi right now for the soccer for PSG, so that's a big signing. So France right now is popping right now. I don't think there would be a perfect time to make. This is the perfect time to make the main event. Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane, December, pay-per-view worldwide. I think that would be the greatest move for the UFC to do, but hopefully they could find the scenario with the COVID stuff in that scenario. It still hasn't died down. some areas. So hopefully they could get it done. But also when Derrick Lewis fought, I really thought that Derrick Lewis, when he claimed that he got poked in the eye, you could clearly saw that it was a clear punch right into the eye, and I think that's where kind of frightened him and not capitalize on that. I think he got scared from the power from Ciryl Gane, and he just put on a clinic. And I was super wrong with Ciryl Gane. Shout out to Ciryl Gane on his great performance. I cannot wait for the main event. The heavyweight division is really, really getting up there. We have Ciryl Gane, we have Stipe, we have Francis, we have John Jones now in the mix. Curtis Blades. The mix is starting. Curtis Blades is not there yet, but those 4 fighters are really juicy on the top right now. It's really, really juicy. So it's really interesting to see. And the heavyweight division is coming back, guys. The heavyweight division is coming back. But, just can't wait for that fight. Co-main event, we had Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz. I had Pedro Munoz winning this fight. I thought he was going to be more accurate, more aggressive in the fight. He did good. I think in the beginning of the round, it was a really close round. I think Jose Aldo won that in strikes just because of leg kicks or a couple of jabs to the head. But, he got the job done. Jose Aldo, even with his age, he's looking great. Jose Aldo's looking like that prime Jose Aldo in featherweight right now. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what's in his ACE bowl or anything like that. But, he's doing good on his diet and stuff like that and putting on a great performance, guys. Great performance for Jose Aldo. And I can see him. Going up all the way to the bantamweight division. I really don't know who Jose Aldo could fight in the bantamweight division. Everybody keeps saying T.J. Dillashaw. I don't think that's really the move right now. T.J. I think it was called the Fighter Companion or the Calabasas Fighter Companion. That's the Brendan Schaub show where Brian Ortega, Brian Ortega and all these other fighters were on there. T.J. as well. And TJ said that he really got an opportunity for his title shot. So I really don't know who he should fight in the bantamweight division right now. Jose Aldo could fight Corey Sandhagen. I think that would be a great opponent to see who they could match up against for the title shot for the bantamweight division. But Pedro Munoz, there's nothing to hang on his head. He put on a good performance. He took a little damage on it, but he kept on there and put it on a performance. As well as Michael Chiesa and Vincente Luque. That was the fight that I was completely wrong on. I really was rooting for Michael Chiesa to win this fight. Michael Chiesa is a dominant fighter, and he even said it on his Instagram post. He got the audience got into him. He got scared. He got nervous, and he capitalized. And Vincente Luque capitalized on. When I saw Vincente Luque on the ground, and Michael Chiesa was on his back, I was like, this is over. Michael Chiesa had an opportunity to finish it, but Vincente Luque got out of it and did his own submission and got the job done. This is a big step for Vincente Luque, just because Vincente Luque, he's now in the top welterweight division. I think he's number 5 now. Tonight, I think he's number 5. I'm not too sure. I think he is number 5 or number 4 right now. But the top rest of the welterweight, it's Wonder Boy, Edwards, Masvidal, and Colby Covington. So it's the top. It's the creme of the creme in the welterweight division. So I'm pretty sure Vincente Luque could fight, Leon Edwards or Gilbert Burns. I think that would be I think they can't do Gilbert Burns because I think they're teammates. So Leon Edwards could be the best possibility. But the welterweight division is also getting pretty spicy. I'm still see Michael Chiesa, not even with this loss. I think he'll come back. He'll come back stronger. I think Michael Chiesa and Wonder Boy could be a great fight. A lot of people might not agree about it, but I think that could be a good fight. To still could be a top contender in the welterweight division. Michael Chiesa was undefeated until last Saturday, so Michael Chiesa still has a great opportunity. And then overall, the Tisha Torres fight, Angela Hill, was a decent fight as well. Went to decision, as well as the Sung Yadong versus Casey Kenny. But overall, the fights were they're all right. The main card was decent. The prelims were pretty good. The Bobby Green versus Rafael Fasev was pretty good fight. But the show, the ones that took the show were the early prelims. We had submission, doctor stoppage, KOs on top of KOs. So the early prelims really brought up the card. I think that's what was the most entertaining out of the regular prelims and the main card. I think the early prelims were the show of the night. It was just great fights overall for the early prelims. But overall for a pay-per-view card, it was all right. It was all right. It was a decent fight. When Gane fights, we're not expecting a crazy, dominant, fast performance, but he does pick his fighters apart and then just capitalizes them later in the later rounds and just beat the living shit out of them. But we will see how Gane does against Francis Ngannou. I can't wait for that. But as well, this Friday we have PFL. As I said, this is going to be the first PFL playoff card, and I think the next one's next Thursday. Overall, I think out of the Bellator and PFL cards, I think I'm going to be a little bit more invested in the PFL just because the main event is the welterweight semifinal, Cooper III versus Rory McDonald. If you guys watch PFL, you know that Ray Cooper III is just a very dominant fighter. He's, I think it was his first fight in the PFL this year where he practically did a flawless victory. The other guy did not throw a single punch, and Cooper just submitted him like right off the bat. So, Cooper's a very dominant fighter in the PFL, while Rory McDonald did lose to a split decision his last card, but I thought it was kind of BS. But it is what it is. But it's still an interesting fight. I really don't know who to win to go for this fight. We have a UFC veteran and Bellator veteran in Rory McDonald, and he did pretty well. Cooper III is a really good fighter. He's a really good fighter, and I think I'm gonna select Cooper III. I feel like he's a little bit more well-rounded. I know he could he could throw some powerful strikes as well. His ground game is pretty well. So I know that Rory McDonald likes to once in a while go to the ground, and I think Cooper is going to be able to handle his. I think he's going to be much stronger in my opinion as well. So I think Cooper might win this fight in split decision. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy performances, but I do think Cooper III will get this job done. Then another fight that's really interesting is the Collard versus Manfino fight. As we know, Collard has been in the boxing ring. I think they call him the Dirty Bird. So, he's been in the boxing ring, did a good job. He beat Anthony Pettis in dominant fashion. So this is going to be a really interesting fight. I think that's going to be the most entertaining fight this entire week. But, overall the PFL cards, nothing crazy except those two fights that I'm calling out. But great fights as well as Bellator. The Bellator card doesn't look too crazy for the main card. That one's going to be on Showtime. Besides that main event, Gegard Mousasi versus John Salter. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. We know that Gegard Mousasi has been just a veteran in the game with 47 wins right here. That it says 47 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws. This man has been in the octagon, in the cage for such a long time. He's fought in the top of the top fighters, and I think he's going to win this fight in pretty dominant fashion. I feel like, as we've seen Gegard Mousasi grow as a fighter, he has taken the route of being more of a technical fighter and going to the ground game more and more and more. So I think he's going to, piece up John for a little bit in the beginning rounds and then take him down in the later rounds, in my opinion. It could go either way. They're both really well-rounded fighters. But I think Gegard Mousasi is going to get the job done and stay the middleweight champion of the world. But interesting fights overall. There's nothing really else in the Bellator main card or prelims that really catch my eye or something that I would really want to break down. But decent both cards. I think really PFL will take the light out of everything, because plus it's on ESPN. Everybody else could watch it. A little bit easier for the audience to watch. But great fights this week. Great fights this week, as well as we have some MMA news. Last week we didn't cover it. We have Sean Strickland versus Luke Rockhold happening in UFC 268 November 6th. Supposedly, I think that one's going to take place in Vegas. I think that's going to take place in Vegas or in New York. I think it's in New York. I'm not sure. But this is a really interesting fight. There's a really short vacation for Sean Strickland. He said that he wanted to take a couple of months off. The next day he got booked for another fight against Luke Rockhold. This is going to be an interesting fight. Luke Rockhold hasn't fought. I think his last fight was against Jan Blachowicz, and you know how that happened a while ago. I think that was his last fight. So it's been a while that Luke Rockhold hasn't gotten in the cage. Sean Strickland just came on a dominant performance against Ryan Hall. So it's really going to be a really close fight because, Luke Rockhold has been champion and stuff like that. It's going to be a really close fight. For right now, at the moment, I'm leaning more for Sean Strickland, but we'll see how that turns out. As well as this week, we did find out that they are going back to Fight Island October 30th. That will be in Abu Dhabi, so that's going to be really interesting. They're really going to do these pay-per-views really back-to-back. October 30th, and then after that, the next week or 2 weeks after that, they're going to be using 268. But, UFC 267, I don't have the fight pictures right now if you guys are watching in the YouTube channel. But we do know that the main event is targeted to be Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira as your main event. And Yuri being the backup in case if anybody gets injured. Hopefully no one gets injured. So we could just see whoever is the better fighter in that. Glover Teixeira does deserve it. And plus, Jan Blachowicz has been a pretty good light heavyweight champion. My apologies. A light heavyweight champion. He's been a pretty good champion in that division. And I believe he should just, if he gets injured, I don't want Yuri to just be stepping up there, and just, getting an easy shot for the belt, I guess. Because I feel like Yuri could pretty dominant beat Glover Teixeira. But Yuri against Jan Blachowicz would be a much closer fight in my opinion. That's the fight that I really want to see in the light heavyweight division. As well as in UFC 267 in Abu Dhabi, the co-main event will be, that I understand, is the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan as well. That's going to be your co-main event. And I heard supposedly there's rumors that this card will be free for the people in the United States, while other places in the world will be pay-per-view. So it's a little interesting that they're going to be doing that type of way. That's what I've understand at the moment. Things could change during the time, but I'll keep that updated on you guys, how that's going to work out. But at least they're going back to Abu Dhabi. It's been a while they haven't been back to Fight Island, so we'll see how that turns out. As well as, Chad Mendes did sign to Bare Knuckle. I really thought that was really interesting to see Chad Mendes come back to Bare Knuckle. When I saw this, I was really surprised. I thought Chad Mendes was completely done. And, people were saying that he was doing his hunting videos. I really didn't keep up with that. But, supposedly he's still a great hunter and stuff like that. But to see him in Bare Knuckle, I think this is a huge, huge plus for Bare Knuckle, just because I think this is their biggest signing besides Paige Van Zandt. Nothing too much, no shade to Rachel Ostovich, but Paige Van Zandt does have more star power than Rachel Ostovich. But Chad Mendes, this is a great move for Bare Knuckle. This will get, I feel, 100% a lot of people into the Bare Knuckle scene, because just Chad Mendes is a dominant fighter. Especially, it's kind of interesting because he's really well in his takedowns. But, to see that Bare Knuckle is practically boxing without no gloves. So it's really interesting how they're going to do this. But it's going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be really exciting to see him. I did get the Bare Knuckle subscription. I got it for like $30 for the whole year. Nothing too crazy. Not going to hurt the bank account. Not too bad. So, I'm pretty sure I'll see when Chad Mendes fights Bare Knuckle. I think whoever gets in the ring with Chad Mendes is going to have a long-ass night. As well as we got two more announcements, guys. We have Nico Montano was released from the UFC. I've seen this miles away. When I heard about it, I knew Nico Montano was going to get released. She just looked like she wasn't taking her job seriously. And, she missed weight by 9 pounds, I think. And I just feel like her time as an MMA fighter has passed. I just feel like she wasn't ready. She wasn't there. I feel like she was really never the champion, She only fought it, I think, against Roxanne Modafferi, I think that's her name, for the belt, and that was just because that was the tough Ultimate Fighter kind of like season. That was what they kind of did, but she really never defended her belt for Valentina in that division. So I really consider that division as Valentina's division the whole time. I really never give Nico Montano that division of, I think it was the flyweight division, any type of love or anything like that. I just feel that Valentina has always been that champion and will be that champion for a long more years to come, because Valentina is probably, I don't know if she's the GOAT, because she did lose against Amanda Nunes in very close decisions, but she's really up there. She's practically almost at the GOAT status. And lastly, we do have, that happened tonight, Tuesday. Jacare Souza did finally retire. It's sad to see the legend go. He has fought for so many organizations. He's always put on great performances. And to see a legend go, to see Jacare Souza go, it's a little bit sad. But, his time passed already. And it's time to pass the torch to other Brazilian fighters and stuff like that. But, he was a great fighter. I think he's Brazilian, if I remember correctly. I might be shooting a couple of blanks right now. But overall, that was the end of the episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 46, guys. As always, guys, thank you for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.